one and I stand on that. You and me, babe, that's black on black. Black on black. Black on black.
You're taught in school that slavery ended in the Civil War. It did for about 10 years. By 1877, there was a compact made by North and South that the South could do what it felt like, essentially. So they reinstituted slavery, but they reinstituted it in a much more brutal form. What they did is criminalize black life. So if a black man is standing on a street corner, he can be arrested for vagrancy. If he looks at a white woman, he can be arrested for attempted rape, or something. And it didn't matter if you were in for a $10 fee, you'd never get out because you couldn't pay the corrupt judge and you couldn't pay the lawyer and you didn't have any money anyway. So it was essentially permanent servitude. These criminalized blacks were then handed over to industry. And that's a large part of American industrial development. This big Southern industrialization based on mines, steel, U.S. Steel, and so on. A lot of it's just based on agriculture, of course. They went right back to the cotton fields. This is a large part of American economic history. That's based, and it was worse than slavery for exactly the reasons that the slave owners had always argued. When we own these guys, we take care of them. When we just pick them up from the jails, we don't give a damn about them. If they die of starvation, fine, we got more from the jails. So you had a period worse than slavery. It went up to the Second World War, was not small, big impact on American industrial history.
The only reason why it ended there is because you needed those black bodies to fight for American freedoms. Welcome back. That's the voice of Noam Chomsky, who turned 96 2 days ago, December 7th. Brilliant man. Will be missed. Here he's in decline. But the way he looks at the world, his economic views, and tying it into history and truth, we need more of this. Olivia A. Cole is here. I played that because I feel like some of us are under the delusion when they say us, we're included. We're not. We're not included. That's part of where I've drawn my line, by the way, as far as like, I'm no longer, because I was doing this kind of, not kumbaya, but with the hope of, having a different kind of president, and maybe people can, let's take race out of it and let's really start to deal with humanity. I realized that that's impossible. I found this clip. Actually, I'm going to play the Harry Belafonte one first. We've been talking about Harry Belafonte for the last 10 years, about how, one of his last conversations with Martin Luther King was that Martin Luther King was saying, I fear that I've integrated my people into a burning house. But in this clip, it's even more deep. And it really underscores where we are and why I'm checking the F out. Y'all figure it out in terms of like, I'm not going to beg for my humanity. I'm not going to tell you how great I am. I'm not going to educate you on history because you don't give a F. You don't care about history. You don't care about right and wrong. You don't even care about the baby Jesus. So get out of my face with your lie. We're going to call you on it. And I'm talking about corporations, all of y'all lying, not the people listening. It's the family. Well, I'm saying the people, the people in these places that make the decisions, they don't care. So all of this is why I was like, even with Jordan Neely and all, they don't care. They don't care about George Floyd. They don't care about us. Michael told us. They don't really care about us. They don't. So I'm now believing when people show you who they are. So I'm going to take my good energy and feed my people. That's it. And you my people, Olivia, you have no melanin, but you my people. So it's not racial, but I'm saying something. Let's play that Harry Belafonte clip. This is 5 days before Martin Luther King was murdered.
Last thing Dr. King ever said to me, 5 days, as a matter of fact, before he was murdered, was he was at my home. We had just finished a strategy meeting on the Poor People's Campaign. And he seemed quite agitated after what we thought was a very successful gathering and discussion. And he said to me, I said, what's the matter, Martin? You seem very agitated. He said, well, I am. Because I've come upon a thought, but I don't know how to deal with it this moment. I said, well, what is it? He said, we fought long for integration. It looks like we're going to get it. I think we get the laws. He says, but I'm afraid that I've come upon something I don't know quite what to do with. I'm afraid that we're integrating into a burning house. And when we asked for further clarification, Andy Young was with me at that time, my wife, others. He said, America's lost whatever little moral vision it had. Its moral sense has run away from the nation. And a nation that is not governed by morality and moral principles is a nation that's headed for an abyss. And I think black people have been struggling to get into this system, maybe getting into a system that in the final analysis is a Sodom and Gomorrah, will not work because its selfish goals, its need for profit, its need for supremacy, its need to be the best has clouded its moral vision. And with no moral vision, no nation can be healthy enough to lead its people anywhere except to destruction.
That's the part. The lack of moral compass, the lack of morality, the lack of a due north, the lack of a right and wrong, the lack of making space for human beings. We all deserve to. That lack, and I don't know, Olivia, if we get it, if we ever had it. When I say we, I'm even struggling with the pronouns. I don't know if America ever had it. United States of America ever had it. So the myth of America's exceptionalism and its greatness and all of that, even to make it great again. When was that? Like, we really need to sit with it. And if the answer is what Martin Luther King was lamenting about and sad in his soul about, that I had an ideal that little black boys and little black girls, I have a dream today. He had a dream that was absolutely unattainable. And he realized it 5 days before they took his life. Because when they took his life, he had figured out the key was doubling down on feeding people who can't feed themselves, giving people the tools and the weapons to be a man, to be a woman, to be self-sufficient. And that's scary to a system that demands us to be subservient and, suckling on the teat of it needs us to be scared and all. But go ahead.
And it needs us to be moral. Like what you said about the morals, it needs us to be scared and moral. And this is I guess could become a specifically neoliberal critique. But, I think, was it Stokely Carmichael who said, in order for nonviolence to work, your opponent must have a conscience. And America has no conscience. Uncle Sam has no conscience. And so us being the moral ones, the nonviolent ones, the, turn the other cheek ones, that doesn't work with this kind of opponent. That doesn't work when it's a system that wants you dead, that, would sooner step over your corpse. And that's coming back to, the killing of Brian Thompson, there is something to be said for, I'm not going to admonish people for dancing in the streets about this man's murder when, he, by all intents and purposes, the man's a serial killer. This is a serial killer.
That's strong and not wrong.
It's
but
not
it's strong.
wrong.
It's language though that people would have to sit. We're not ready for that kind of language or that kind of conversation, Olivia Cole. Come on.
Maybe we are because we see people across the aisles reaching over to shake hands over this man's dead body. So,
okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to tap dance on anybody's grave. I'm going to focus on giving and spreading life on these airwaves. Yeah. Yes. And give life abundantly. Olivia A. Cole is here, 866-801-8255. But yeah, America is selfish. She is all of the things. And to your point, they want you alive as long as they can profit from you. They need our labor.
Mm-hmm.
There's no coincidence that they went to Kenya and fed that Chat GPT with basic, slave labor, and got that thing to be $1 trillion. They're not profit sharing with those Kenyans. They extract. This is an extraction.
Extraction.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is what they do. All right. So if we're good, if we have goodness, we need to keep it.